Well, it is currently 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, the day after the Sens played the Golden Knights. Um, 10 o'clock p.m. start time, so yeah, I'm recording this video very late and it went to a shootout. So yeah, by the time that game finished, it was past 1 in the morning, so yeah, there's no way I was going to record the video and upload it at like 2 in the morning. So here we are now, we are recording the game. I know it's not going to be probably as much of a genuine reaction because it's later, but you know, it's still fresh enough in my mind. And oh, it's fresh in my mind. I'll just say that. Um, Man, oh man, you want to talk about a game that your goalie steals? Yeah, this was I'm not saying Allmark was the only reason the Sens won this one, but he stole it. He absolutely stole this one, especially in that third period because, well, the Sens were not doing too much in the second half of the game. So, um, yeah, we're going to go into my notes here, and of course, you know, we'll explain the game as I go through them, as I always do. So, Wednesday, November 26th, the Sens played their 23rd game of the season against the Vegas Golden Knights. And as mentioned, it was a 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern start time. So, this was the fourth game of a 7-game road trip. So, now they're officially over halfway through this. And it's been looking pretty good so far, I gotta say. So this was the first meeting of the season between these two teams. It was Linus Ullmark in net for the Sens and Akira Schmid in net for the Golden Knights. So the Sens were 11-7-4 coming into the game, and the Golden Knights had a very bizarre record. They still have a bizarre record. So they are 10-5-7 coming into this game, 5-3-3 at home. Now, lineup notes. So Shabbat, Greg, and Kachuk were all out tonight. I'll be talking more about Kachuk at the end of the video. I don't know when Shabbat and Greg are coming back. Of course, we know when Kachuk's coming back. Again, I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. But yeah, I don't know when they're coming back, so hopefully sooner than later. And I think this is kind of ironic. So Mark Stone was out for a while. I forget exactly how many games he missed, but probably about a month, I think. And of course, he returns tonight. Why wouldn't he return against his former team? And oh man, there's a stat that I'll read off later. I don't think I put it in my notes, but there's a really funny and crazy stat that I'll read off later. But this ends up being a huge win. I was very nervous going into this one, but the Sens managed to pull it off. Alright, so let's go ahead and break down this game. I keep wanting to say tonight, but it was last night. So the Sens end up winning 4-3 in a shootout. Feels like it's their first shootout in a little while. I don't have the exact stat on that, but it feels like it's been their first shootout in a while. So the Sens move to 12-7-4 on the season, and Vegas, look at this record, 10-5-8. 8 overtime losses. That is crazy, which is the most in the league. They're one ahead of St. Louis, funny enough, which we'll talk about St. Louis later, as you can see by the layout. So let's go ahead and go through the shots here. And, well, when you look at the shots and the stats, the shots were 35-23 in favor of Vegas. Like I said, Allmark kind of stole this one. Again, the Sens didn't just win because of him, but he was a huge part of the win, a huge part of the reason why they won. So, just big game for Allmark for sure. Face-off percentage, the Sens once again do dominate, 54.8% compared to 45.2% for the Golden Knights. Power plays, both teams were 1 for 3. Both teams had 6 penalty minutes. The hits, 33-26 in favor of Vegas. And this game had a bit of an edge to it, which you'll hear me say that a lot throughout the notes. It almost felt like a playoff game at points. Block shots were 12-10 in favor of Vegas. Giveaways 14-12 with the Sens having the fewest. And the takeaways were 5-4 in favor of Vegas. So these two teams will meet again on January 25th, so about 2 months from now in Ottawa. So we'll go through the notes, and this is a big win, man. Like I said, Allmark stole this one big time. So less than a minute into the game, Pinto would gain the zone. He passed it off the boards to himself, and he scores. from a horrible angle. This should not have went in on Schmidt, in my opinion. This is kind of a bad goal on him, but that's a pretty good way to start the game. We're less than a minute in. 51 seconds, as a matter of fact. Shane Pinto scores his 11th of the season from Sanderson and Giroux. Sanderson had a heck of a game, by the way. He did something. There's a crazy stat I'll read off later on in my notes, but that's a pretty good way to start the game if you're a Sens. So they go up 1-0 less than a minute into the game. So, shortly after that goal, Giroux would take a tripping penalty on Eichel, and this is kind of this looks weird, because like Giroux was he was on his knees, and Eichel kind of looked like he leaped over Giroux. I don't know. It's still a trip, but it just looked kind of weird. Like Giroux is not trying to trip him at all. And Eichel, just the way he went over top of him, it was, I don't know, it was kind of a weird looking one, but it is still a trip, I guess. You got to call it. So Vegas would go to the power play, and they did have some good looks, but they would not score. So the Sens do kill that off. So there was a broken play. This was kind of in slow motion. It was weird. I don't know. It's like everyone stopped skating for a second, and Dorofeev had a shot that would hit the crossbar. So close to tying it there for Vegas. Vegas would have another point shot that was deflected. That was a good save by Allmark there. I'm going to be saying that a lot in this video. Good save by Allmark. Keep track of how many times I say that. Have fun with that, because I'll be saying it a lot. Whitecloud flips the puck out of play, and he would take a delay of game penalty, so the Sens would go to the power play. There was a one-timer by Sanderson from the point. It goes straight in, and he wired it. So the Sens go up 2-0, and this was a power play goal. So Jake Sanderson scoring at the 13:04 mark from Giroux and Stützle, and the Sens take a 2-0 lead. So we're looking pretty good right now, right? So, and I literally put this in my notes. It's a solid period to this point. The crowd is out of it. Vegas is not really doing that much at the start of the game here. So, as I say that, Howden would go flying past the D, and he takes it to the net, and he would score. So, of course, right after I put that in my notes, I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a solid period to this point, and then Vegas would score. So Brett Howden scoring at the 16:52 mark from Marner and Theodore, and that would make it 2-1. So still got a 1-goal lead. It's still been a pretty good period, so I'm still feeling pretty good about it. So on that goal, Jensen was the last one back, and it's yeah, this was a weird play. There was a bad turnover by the Sens. There was a possible missed call on the Sens. It looked like interference in front of the net. This was after the goal. But on the goal, Jensen was the last one back. So that would explain, because Howden went flying past the D. And I'm like, how the heck did he get that much space? And, we all know Jensen is dealing with something, but yeah. So that all happened. The Sens would go back the other way. Stützle would find Batherson going to the net, and Batherson would score. So that made it 3-1, and the Sens would regain their 2-goal lead, and this was a late goal. So this goal came at the 19:43 mark of the first period. Stützle and Sanderson drawing the assist there. Now, if you're wondering, yes, that is a 3-point first period for Jake Sanderson. He is the third defenseman in franchise history to do that. The only other two defensemen that have done that are Wade Redden and Jacob Chychrun. So I forget the years exactly, but that's insane. Just the third defenseman in franchise history to do that. So, heck of a period for Sanderson. So, Saad, not long after that goal, Saad would high stick Eller right off the faceoff. It was actually right off the faceoff after the goal. So the Sens would go back to the power play, and that power play would carry over into the second period, but we end the first period and the Sens are up 3-1, and I'm feeling pretty good. This is a solid period. There was just the one breakdown there on the Howden goal, but looking pretty good. The shots were 11-10 Vegas after the first period, but I'm still feeling pretty good about this, to be honest, and it didn't stay that way for long. So we go into the second period. So as mentioned, the Sens do start with a power play. They have 1 minute and 47 seconds of power play time, but they would not score. Of course, their only power play goal came in that first period. That was the Sanderson goal. So Stutzla would turn it over to Stone. We all know how good Stone is at taking the puck away. So this would lead to a good shot, a good chance by Eichel, shorthanded, but that was stopped by Ullmark. And like we all know how talented Stutzla is, but there were times tonight where it seemed like he was trying to do a bit too much, maybe, especially on the power play, just skating through guys, like 3 or 4 guys on his own. He's very talented. We know this, right? And he is frustrated. He's getting these bad non-calls, hitting posts, and just yeah, I get it, but I found to me personally, I thought he was doing a bit too much on his own at times. Or last night, I guess. I keep wanting to say tonight, but you know what I mean. So the Sens would not score on that power play. Then there was a big save by Ullmark and then a pass to Eichel behind the net, and he would end up tucking this in. There was some pretty bad coverage by the Sens here. Eichel just left all alone at the side of the net, and he basically had a wide open net, just had to tuck it in. So that would make it 3-2. So Eichel would score at the 2:09 mark of the second period from Barbashev and Bowman, and that the Vegas would come to within 1 goal, but we're still up 3-2. But you can feel the tide starting to change a little bit here. Like Vegas is starting to gain some momentum. So Ottawa would have a point shot that went off the post, so that was close. And now Marner would have a great chance in front. That was stopped by Ullmark. And then back the other way, Dylan Cousins, made a strong play to the net, but he is stopped by Schmid. And then there was a huge hit by Cousins on Whitecloud, Nick Cousins, that is. Got to make sure I don't confuse the two Cousins. And then there was a big hit by Pinto, and I did not put down who the Vegas player was, but there was a lot of cross checks being thrown by the Vegas player. There was a shot to the face of Pinto after that. That didn't get called. I'm not sure why, but okay, play on, I guess. And I put in my notes, like, these two teams at this point in the game, they're playing like they don't like each other, and it was entertaining. This was a very entertaining game. A lot of hits, a lot of big hits, and it was fun. And I have this in my notes as well. Guys are finishing their checks all over the ice. Now the hits are 33-26, but kind of felt like there was more on that in my opinion. But yeah, a lot of hitting going on this one. So Theodore would have a great chance. That was stopped by Ullmark. And then Amadio the other way has a one-timer. That was stopped by Schmid. Both goalies made some pretty big saves here, especially Ullmark once we get to the third period. Just wait till we get to the third period. There was a big hit on Jensen that would lead to another great chance for Vegas. That was stopped by Ullmark. And then there was a shot by Ottawa that was stopped, and it leads to some pushing and shoving in front of the net, and Hodgson is in the middle of it, of course. I love the way he plays, man. Such a, an agitator, energy player. I really hope he stays with the team. I'm really liking the way he's playing so far. But as I say that, and as I put that in my notes, Hodgson would then flip the puck out of play, and he would take a delay of game penalty. So that's not good. So Dorofeev had a great chance that would miss the net. He was left all alone up front, but he actually missed the net there. And then another shot would go off the mask of Ullmark, and the Sens would barely kill this off. So at this point, we're pretty late in the second period. The second period, back half of it, and especially the third period, Vegas was dominating. So yeah, the Sens kill that one off, but just barely. So the teams are exchanging chances back to back, and they're continuing to finish their checks. Again, there's a lot of hitting going on, and this game is being played at a breakneck pace. The temperature is high because it's just a lot of emotion, and again, it kind of felt like a playoff game at points, and it was very entertaining. So Marner would high stick Perron, and during that delayed penalty, Stutzla got away with a possible slash. So I don't know, could have easily been 4-on-4 here, offsetting minors, but the Sens would go to the power play, and they do not score on it. So we go to the end of the second period, second intermission. The shots were 11-7 for Vegas in that second period. So the Sens, they're still up by one after the second period. They're up 3-2, but I'm starting to not feel great because the Vegas is starting to take over this game. You can easily see it. So we go into the third period, and the first thing I have in my notes for the third period is a very sluggish start to the period by the Sens. Stone would take it away from Stützle, and that led to a good chance for Vegas. They don't score though. The Sens are getting no zone time at all through the first 4 minutes or so. And then Dylan Cousins would take a high sticking penalty on Eichel, and he tried to argue it. He's tried to argue that it was a follow through, but it wasn't. Because I know, of course, if it is a follow through, then it's not a penalty. But this one wasn't a follow through, though. I think they made the right call on this. So Stone would go for an attempted pass cross crease, and it goes off the skate of Stützle, of course, of all people, and it goes in. So, yep, he goes for a pass, goes off the skate of Stützle, and bounces into the net. So, definitely a very fortunate bounce for Vegas there. And, of course, it's Mark Stone, because why wouldn't it be? So, that would tie the game at 3. So, Stone scoring unassisted on the power play at the 6:40 mark of the third period. And we are tied at 3, and at this point I'm not feeling good at all, because Vegas is dominating. They are taking over the game. They got this fluky goal, so it's like, okay, well, here we go, ready to see them blow a 2-goal lead. But that did not happen, actually. So there was a wraparound attempt that was stopped by Allmark, and the Sens have absolutely nothing going on to this point in the third period. It is all Vegas, literally all Vegas, and this is basically where the Allmark show started. So Martner would have a good chance in front. That was stopped, and the Sens got their first shot of the period about 9 minutes into the third period. So during a tied game, they're just not getting any zone time, nothing. There's no shooting. There's nothing going on. Really not too much going on for the Sens. So Stützle would make a huge hit on Kozak, and I put this in my notes as well. He is clearly frustrated, you can tell, because, like, again, he's just missing chances. That goal went in off his skate, so showing visible frustration, and you like to see that from your star player. I don't think Stützle should be their biggest hitter necessarily, but it's good to see that emotion for sure out of your star players. So then there was another big hit. This one was by Barbashev. I didn't put who the Sens player was. So, and again, this game really has an edge to it. Like, guys are finishing their checks. There are some big hits being dished out by both teams. Again, it was very entertaining. So we are 12 minutes into the third period, and the shots are 6-1 for Vegas. So yeah, one shot for the Sens, and we are 12 minutes into the period. So not looking great. So Marner would have another great chance. He would walk in, and that was stopped by Allmark. And then Colasar would have a good look. That was a big glove save by Allmark. So I have this in my notes, literally word for word. I was like, are the guys going to start playing and getting some zone time here? Because they weren't doing anything, man. Like, they were just, it just felt like they were relying on Allmark at this point just to bail them out, which he did. Oh, he did. So Barbashev would split the D, and he gets a good chance, but that's stopped by Allmark too. Eichel would have a breakaway. He goes 5-hole, and that was stopped by Allmark. And then another shot goes off the mask of Allmark, stops that one too. And then the puck goes back the other way, and Stützle might have had a chance here, but he ran into the ref. Stützle is having some bad luck lately, man. The freaking runs into the ref. The missed calls in the last game against the Kings, and just the goal going in off his skate. It just, I don't know what's going on. Just some bad luck here for Stützle lately. Then there was a point shot from Vegas that was stopped by Allmark, and then Ottawa would call a timeout here to try to settle things down because there's just, Vegas is just taking over completely. Like, Sens have nothing going on at all. So that's a good timeout for Travis Green to take for sure. Um, then there was a point shot from Ottawa that would get blocked, and Stutzla would follow it up. He sends it wide of the net right at the buzzer, and even if it did go in, it wouldn't have counted. They actually showed the replay. The time had expired anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But yeah, the Sens didn't do much in that third period, so we end up finishing regulation tied at 3. So we would go to overtime. So the shots in that third period were 11-5 for Vegas. So we go to overtime. So the Sens would control the puck. Giroux wins the faceoff, and he would go off immediately. He was only on there to win the faceoff, which he did. So he went to the bench immediately. So the Sens would control the puck for the first about minute and a half or so. Batherson would have a good chance that goes over the net. He actually missed the net there. And then Barbashev would hit the crossbar. That stayed out. And then Giroux had a good look. That was stopped. And then Theodore would also have a he would have a chance where he cuts to the net, but he was stopped by Allmark. And nothing doing in the overtime period. The shots were apparently 2-1 Vegas in the overtime, but it felt like they had more, but apparently they were 2-1. So this game would need a shootout. So Ottawa coming into this game was 2-0 in the shootout, now make it 3-0. So there was a very bizarre situation that occurred here as well. So first shooter was for Ottawa. It was Batherson. He was stopped. Dorofeev shoots first for Vegas, and he does not get a shot, actually. There was a good stick by Allmark there to prevent a shot. And then Stutzla shoots next. Just guess what happens. It's Stutzla shooting. What do you think is going to happen? He didn't score. He hits the post. Just horrible luck for Stutzla tonight. I think he had 2 assists, right? So just checking that right now. Yeah, he had 2 assists. So not all bad, but man, oh man, he's getting some bad breaks tonight. So now shooting next for Vegas was Eichel. This was a very weird. This was weird. So he goes 5-hole, and they would end up reviewing this. Now, at real time, I thought this went in, because what happened was he went 5-hole. Allmark is kind of drifting back into his net a little bit, and pretty much his entire body was past the goal line. There was like a little piece of him that was not past the goal line, and I'm like, okay, well surely that's in, right? But they would review it, and apparently there was a camera angle that shows the puck like clearly not being in, so it was no goal. They reviewed this for a little while, and you don't usually see a goal review like this in the shootout, but yeah, they reviewed it, and apparently it did not go in, but it looked like it went in at real time, at least to me it did. So that was a big break for sure. So the next shooter for Ottawa was Pinto, and he would score. He went backhand, forehand to score the go-ahead goal. So the final shooter, I kind of love that the final shooter is Marner. So he comes in, and he doesn't even get a shot. He kind of bobbles the puck a little bit, and he never gets a shot. So that was it. Pinto ends up scoring the shootout winner, and the Sens win 4-3 in a shootout. So the Sens are now 3-0 in the shootout this season. So there you go. And this is the first win in Vegas for the Sens since 2018. Yep. I forget how many games it is. I guess that'd be what, 7? 6? Something like that. It's been a while. 7 years. Finally win in Vegas. And the Sens are now 3-1 on this road trip. And they're looking really good, man. Like the games that they're playing, like they're close. They feel like playoff games, especially this game against Vegas. This one really did feel like a playoff game at certain points, and it was entertaining, man. So we'll go ahead and go into the 3 stars. Now, I was looking at this last night. Yeah, the 3 stars are really weird to me. So the first star of the game is Shane Pinto. Okay, like he scored the shootout winner, and he scored the first goal of the game, but it's weird because the second star of the game was Eichel. He scored a goal, and third star of the game was Stone. He also scored one goal. But it's like, why is Ullmark not up there? Why is Sanderson not up there? Sanderson had 3 points. So bizarre looking 3 stars of the game, but I'm not going to judge, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and look into the box score here. So our point getters for the Sens. For forwards, we got Stützle and Giroux with 2 assists each. And then we got Pinto and Batherson with 1 goal each. And then for the defense, Sanderson, as mentioned, 1 goal and 2 assists. And again, he is just the 3rd defenseman in franchise history to have a 3-point first period. So that's crazy. And especially doing it against a team like Vegas. So plus minus, Spence and Sanderson were +1. Jensen and Clevin were -1. And for the forwards, Stützle, Batherson, and Perron were +1. And then Pinto, Amadio, and Dylan Cousins were a -1. Time on ice leader, Stützle, to no surprise, 23-31, leading the forwards. And we all know Sanderson played a ton. 28-01 for Sanderson. So yeah, that was the most by far. And then shots, Clevin had 4 shots actually, which led the defenseman. And Dylan Cousins had the most shots with 4 for the forwards. Blocks, we got Batherson and Zetterlund with 2 each, leading the forwards. And blocks, every defenseman had 1 except for Jensen. So there's that. And hits, just 1 hit for all defensemen combined. That was by Matt and Paulo. And I was wondering if they were going to change this, but no. So apparently Pinto had 9 hits tonight. So maybe that's part of the reason why he was the first start. 9 hits for Pinto. So again, there were a lot of hits tonight. That's crazy. 9 hits by Pinto. So that is pretty much it for that. So now I'm trying to scroll the thing. It's not letting me do it. Okay, there we go. So looking at Ullmark's numbers, he had a very solid night tonight. Last night, I keep saying tonight, but you know what I mean. So he stops 32 out of 35 for a .914 save percentage. And he stole this one, man. Like, again, I know he's not the only reason they won, but especially in that third period, he made so many huge saves. Like, that's, you gotta do that sometimes, right? You gotta have your goalie bail you out sometimes. And it's safe to say Ullmark did that against the Vegas Golden Knights. So this is, this team's looking pretty good, man. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but things are looking pretty good right now. So they are 3-1 on the road trip. So currently the Sens are now sitting 2nd in the Atlantic Division with that 12-7-4 record. So they're now 6-4-2 on the road and 6-2-2 in their last 10. So looking good. But again, it's just weird when you look at the standings because, like, I mean, even Buffalo. Like, Buffalo is dead last in the East right now with 22 points, but they're only 6 points behind the Sens. Like, so it's just wild, man. I love how close it is, though. It makes it very unpredictable. So yeah, Sens are looking good. So their next game is going to be, well, at the time I'm recording this, it's going to be tomorrow night, Friday, November 28th against the St. Louis Blues. Kind of a weird start time. It's 4 p.m. Eastern. So, you know, no late upload review video for that one. But the big thing with this game, let me go ahead and preview the Blues first. So the Blues have been struggling. So they are currently 7-10-7, and they are 3-5-4 at home. And this team gives up a lot of goals. So they have scored 63, they've allowed 88, which is not the most, but it's one of the highest. So wow, they're 3-2-5 in their last 10. That's That's crazy. So, well, they've been getting points, I guess, right? But they haven't been winning a whole lot. So we'll see what happens. But the big thing with this game, based off what I've been hearing and what I've been told, Brady Tkachuk, the captain of the Sens, will be returning against the St. Louis Blues. And I'm pretty sure it was planned because, to my knowledge, I believe it's his hometown, right? So that's going to be cool. It's going to be amazing to have him back. And yeah, just hopefully he does come back. That's what I've been hearing. So do look out for that, guys. But solid win. Again, Allmark absolutely stole this one. And at some point in time, the good teams, you got to have your goalie bail you out some nights, right? And that's exactly what Allmark did against Vegas. So yeah, very solid road trip. Sens are now 3-1 on it. And we got 3 more games left here on this marathon of a road trip, guys. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching, and go Sens go.